Hello, Core community. Welcome to our July session of Core Leadership Sessions. I'm here with Maureen Ballatori of 29Design Studio. Welcome, Maureen.
Thank you.
And
nice to be here.
Yeah, and thank you for having me come to the Metro Co-work,
Yes.
which I hear is a fantastic place to be running and scaling a business if you don't have your own office.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Flexible spaces,
Cool.
small to large businesses,
Cool.
and people.
Yeah, yeah,
that
that's
aren't your
nice.
dog.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah, working from home can be tough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So Maureen started 29Design Studio in 2007 as a side hustle, and she has grown. Her team has gone from 2 to 5 team members in just the last 6 months here. And that's pretty fantastic. And I want to know how she did that. I want to know how you did that. That's amazing that you were able to grow in that way. So Maureen and 29Design Studio has a variety of international branding and marketing awards. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I think that what Core Community wants to know from you is, first of all, what do you focus on? Like, what is your focus in your business? Because I know I worked with you, and it was awesome experience.
Thank you.
Because the reality was, I called you and I thought to myself, I know what I want, but I don't know how to execute it.
Yeah.
And I want it to be awesome
Right.
in my business.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. So we get that a lot where clients know that they want to scale up and they need to solve marketing challenges and strategic challenges in order to do that, but they have no idea what those solutions are. So we're great listeners. I mean, and really that's the best skill that we all have is listen to what it is that you're trying to achieve. What are your goals? And then we use our experience and expertise to figure out how we help you get there.
Yeah, and so that's what's cool about that is every time I met with you, I felt like not only were you serving me in a great way, you cared about
Yeah.
what I wanted and you totally listened to me, which was really important for me to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you empowered me to be able to do some of the work in as far as really drilling down into who I am and what my business is, which is
Yeah.
important for any business owner to do, right? You've got to know it in your heart too. And so I really appreciate that
Yeah.
about you.
And thank you. And that is something that we hear often as well. So, I have this aspect of my business that I could lean into or, grow in this way, but I just have all of these options and I don't know what I should do first. And so typically the question that we ask there is, well, what gets you out of bed in the morning? What's your favorite thing to do? What is the exciting and passionate aspect of it? Do that. I mean, especially when you're the business owner or the leader, which is typically who we work with, you have the opportunity to create what it is that you want. And so some of it is just permission to lean into understanding what that is.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a great lead into my question for you.
Yeah.
Because how did you create that for yourself? Because going from 2007 as a side hustle with just yourself to 2014 going full time,
Yep.
team of 2,
Yep.
and now in the last 6 months to a team of 5.
Right.
What is it that you did strategically or creatively? How did you tap into that passion to make that happen?
I am constantly networking. Yeah, and that's really the big thing that I think has helped us grow. So we don't do we do very little of like traditional advertising where, we're running ads on various platforms. We do some of that to help, facilitate, the leads coming in and that sort of thing. But really I am constantly lunching or dinner or let's have coffee and, even co-working is a big way to meet a bunch of new people. And so I work in a co-work down in Geneva, and then we work here at Metro Co-work East Avenue to expand and meet other people. And all of it I look at with a lens of how can I help, And so when I remove that pressure from myself, and so I can just think of it as I am helping this person realize their vision or grow to, however they see that for themselves, and just being the conduit to bridge those two things together. It's a joy. I mean, really, like, it sounds very cliche, but it just is a joy to be able to do that.
And it's not like a struggle networking. It's like fun at the same
Right.
time. Okay, so so I have to know, is it has it always been comfortable for you to network and get out there? Because I
Yeah.
know I'm sure there's some core community out there that can relate to the fact that they're like networking,
Right.
I can't do it. So tell me about that.
Yeah. It still is not easy. So I was at a conference 2 weeks ago where I was there by myself for the whole day. I sat on a panel and we were a sponsor, so I had to be there. We had made a literal investment in that day. And so for me to get the most out of it, I had to push myself to, bridge that and tell people who I was and what we did and why we were there. And so it's just, I had to overcome personal challenges of how do I start a conversation with a stranger to make some of those things happen. And again, I think relieving the pressure of the whole thing, that it's not a sales opportunity. It's just I approach it from an interest of, what does this person have that's interesting? What do I have that's interesting that we can kind of just chat about and approach it that way, as opposed to, how can I get business out of this person,
Yeah, totally. Because that's what's uncomfortable.
Right.
Right. Because I've experienced that myself. It's like when you go in with that, I need to sell, I need to get something out of this. It never pans out. Right? But if you can find a point of connection.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing. You're really focusing on, who is this person?
Right.
Let me focus. And you're not looking behind to see who else is back there that I can make sure I get leads from or whatever.
We're really we're finding out what someone's pain point is that's inhibiting them from reaching their goals from a marketing and design and strategy standpoint, and helping them bridge that gap.
Yeah.
And so I know you do the same thing with coaching, that you're understanding what are the organizational challenges that we can help you overcome. It's essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Cool. So tell me about the team. So has it always been easy to find the team members that you wanted to help grow your business? Because the reality is, even though you're a boutique style, I still feel like you're scaling, right? You're growing. So what is it was it always easy? You found the right people? Tell me that process.
Yeah, it's really hard. And there's so much more than just skill set, right? Is this person a good culture fit? You know that all too well. So, we wanted to make sure, especially with that first full-time hire, somebody that was going to be doing, my core skills are design, marketing, and strategy. And so I wanted to continue holding on to the strategy and marketing. So I knew I needed a rock star designer who could understand the whole, trifecta of those three things and how they come together, and be able to execute them with the highest quality, with speed, and also was a joy to work with, because when you were a smaller team, plus we're remote first, so people work from anywhere. So with all of those things, it's even more important in my mind that everybody can speak to each other and have open and honest conversations. So I just tried to focus on that. Does this person seem like, is their design skill there? Yes. Okay. Does this person seem like they're going to be a good culture fit? Yes. Okay. Let's bring them on board and let's give them perks that they're not going to get in a traditional agency, where you're working late hours all the time, weekends all the time, overstepping boundaries, personal and professional in a lot of ways. So we try to excel in those areas, so that we can attract top quality talent.
So did you come up with a process for that? Like how do you know? How do you know if someone's a culture fit? Like what do you?
I don't know. I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah, right.
I mean, so we hired my first art director in November of last year, which is Courtney. And, I just believe in constant check-ins, so, we have standard check-ins set at 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, the whole typical, like, let's sit down and have a formal conversation of how things are going. But also making sure that we're saying, if this seemed a little rocky, can we talk about that? Or it seems like I recognize and realize that this is not the kind of thing that you want to be doing, and it's not always going to be like that, and kind of just bubbling to the surface when something is uncomfortable. And so I have to constantly remind myself to take time to do that. And thankfully, as a result of that, so adding James, and then we have a new hire, Colleen, who's starting next week as well, who's going to do some relationship management stuff. You know, I just want to make sure that everybody understands that we are all people and that we're all here just to do a thing. And if something goes wrong, it's not a big deal and we fix it. And, you know, if something is not working, you know, I encourage you to speak up, or if you have questions about changes I've made, please say something, you know, so that I try to make it so that everybody knows that they can take me aside. And I've had employees do that, say, you made some changes on this and I don't understand why you made those. I'd love a chance to just talk about that when we have some time.
Yeah. So that increases your understanding and their understanding, and you're just connecting even at a deeper level when you're able to have those conversations.
Yeah.
So that's really good, because if you don't, your team shuts down.
Yeah.
And you
and then they're just side frustrated over here.
That's right. And you can probably feel that.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know when something's up.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that's good. So tell me, I really would love to know, and I just love this question, you know, let's say 10 years ago when you first started, like, was this the vision you had 10 years ago? Have you held on to a vision and held your image?
Yeah.
Or does it look totally different? What is it like?
Yeah, it definitely has changed. So when I graduated from college in 2008 in the, you know, height of the economic crisis, when no one was hiring marketing people and design people because it was a fringe thing they didn't need, right? So it was a terrible time to graduate with a design degree. Yeah. So I started the side hustle because I really wanted that independence and I wanted to be able to lean into that. And I got a full-time in-house job in professional services. I worked in banking, and then I was in publishing, and then legal. So I did all that for 10 years. And then when I leaned in all along the way with that, that's all I wanted. I just wanted to maintain that side hustle, to be able to have full control over my creative vision and everything that I was doing. And I remember I had a conversation, a dinner with my uncle, who's a business owner, who's now a client, actually.
Oh, cool.
And said, you know, help me figure this out. You know, what am I doing with this? You know, because I didn't know. You know, I was in my mid-20s and just had no idea. And so he asked me some of those questions. What do you want to do with this? Do you always want to be just you? And I said, yes, I never want employees. I never want that. I just want me, you know. And he said, well, then I think you need to manage your expectations about that and just think about, you know, what that looks like for you. Are you going to do that just you know, with your own business? Are you going to continue to work another job? You know, just asking some probing questions in that regard. And then even just him asking those questions, it kind of planted that seed to think, well, do I want employees? And then the more that changed and I grew, you know, working on large teams in large organizations while I was in-house for those 10 years, realized that I really loved the collaboration piece. And I didn't want to do it by myself, because I really love being able to tap one of my team members and say, let's talk about this together and figure it out. And, you know, I truly believe that those collaborative conversations lead to a better result.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So once I realized that, then I had to overcome the fear of being responsible for somebody else's career, right?
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. So how do I know when I'm ready to hire somebody that I have enough revenue coming in to support not just me, because that was the first fear, right?
Yep. Yep.
How do I make sure that I can pay for me and this other person, and then other person, and then other person? So it's just been, you know, a close relationship with my accountant and trusted advisors and people that I can call and say, I am scared of this thing, you know, if it's an opportunity or if it's a setback or something, to be able to tap somebody that I trust who's been there, that I can say, this little thing is terrifying me, and how do we help? Can you help me get past it?
Yeah, yeah. So I got to highlight that actually to core community, because I want you to hear, like, what I heard in that vignette, so to speak, is that number one, Maureen's vision changed, right? She had this thought when she was in her 20s, and she didn't stick to, this is the vision and this is all I want, right? you adapted in that, right? So knowing that whatever your vision is, community, whatever you want, keep the vision, but know that you can flex as you move along. But then the other thing is that open communication. Open communication always with how you're feeling is key too. Because if you don't have someone helping you to break through those fear barriers and help you to understand, then you're not going to move forward. So, so that's great advice. Great advice for them.
Yeah.
So, you know, as we wrap up here, if you could share with the core community, what would you tell yourself 10 years ago? You know, knowing what you know now, what would you tell yourself maybe 10 years ago or 20 years ago of how to move forward?
Yeah. I think the best skill that I've learned in the last 10 years is that it's okay to ask for help. So, you know, initially I have always been the most stubborn person I've ever known. Maybe my dad is more stubborn than me, but
I wonder if you got that from him.
I've always been very stubborn.
Yeah.
So asking for help is really difficult for me. So knowing that that's okay, and that not only is that okay, but that if I don't bubble those things to the surface and address them, that they're just gonna dig deeper and pile in and become bigger, and then those fears are gonna be what flourishes instead of the thing that I want to
that's
grow.
right. That's right. Great advice. Thank you. And I'll just say that I've been working with you now for over a year, and I have not seen stubbornness at all. You have been really a beautiful person to work with, and creative, and a fantastic team that delivers on what they say they will. So I encourage you to check out Maureen Ballatori and 29Design Studio. You see her website here. And I thank you for being here and inviting me to chat with you and speak into my core community.
Thanks, Maria.
All right, have a great day.
Thanks.
We'll see you next month.